So coming into the third video of the fifth module, dividend policy. In this video we will be going through irrelevance theory of model of dividend policy and relevance theory of model of dividend policy. What is in continuation of the last video, I will repeat it once more. What is the relevance theory of dividend? Depending upon the retention or retained earnings and dividend maintained by the company's value may change, or the market value of shares may change. So the dividend policy, what is dividend policy? Whether the company should maintain more dividend, whether the company should provide more dividend, or to maintain high payout ratio, or to have less payout ratio, that is company have to pay less dividend and have more retained earnings, that is higher retention ratio. This is called as dividend policy. If in such cases the company dividend policy based on these two things, whether to maintain high payout ratio or to maintain high retention ratio, the value of the shares may change, or it may affect the present market value of shares. That is what we are studying under the James Walter's model. In companies, in case of companies, dividend theory of relevance, Professor James E. Walter's model, there are certain assumptions used. What are the assumptions used? Let us check. Under this model, it is assumed first of all that a firm finances all investments through retained earnings and not by the new issue of equity or new provisions of debt. Very important point, first one, that is the entire finances or the company's further investment, that is called as finances, is made by, or further investment is made by the company only from the retained earnings, not by issuing new equity shares or not by raising funds through debt, borrowed funds. That is one of the assumption used. Second assumption is that the R we had studied in capital budgeting, rate of return of the company, and K, cost of capital or overall cost of capital of the company, are constant. So I had used the abbreviations here. We had already studied this thing in the capital budgeting videos. Then the third assumption is that all earnings are distributed as dividend or reinvested immediately into the company. Means the company have only two policies according to James E. Walter's model. What is it? Either it is 100% payout ratio or 100% retention ratio. What do you mean by 100% payout ratio? The entire profit of the company or the majority profit of the company is transferred to the shareholders as dividend. That is 100% payout ratio. Or about 100%, almost the entire net profit of the company is being kept by the company as reserves or retention. So that is another assumption used by the company under the company using James Walter's model. Then the next assumption is that beginning earnings and dividend never change. That we could go through while dealing with the problem. Then the company has perpetual life. The firm has infinite life. It is not based on the assumption that the company will be wound up tomorrow, dividends are distributed, or this model is being applied. Company will be having perpetual life or infinite life. So these assumptions are there under the James E. Walter's model, dividend theory of relevance. Why it is called as relevance? Because it mentions clearly that the payment of dividend or the retained earnings may affect the present market value of shares. So as I told, we are not studying here what is the percentage of dividend we are going to distribute to the shareholders. Instead of that, we are studying while distributing dividend to the shareholders, whether the company's value may change or the present market value of shares may change. For this we are using this equation. So under James Walter's model, we will find out the present market value of shares using this equation. I am going into the derived equation. You could see dividend plus R by K. Okay, what is R? R is firm's rate of return. K is overall cost of capital into EPS minus dividend, the whole divided by K. EPS is earnings per share, dividend is dividend per share, and DIV is dividend per share, and K is overall cost of capital. So this equation and all you could check while I am sending the scanned copy in your WhatsApp group. This note scanned copy I will be sending, and similarly you could check the same formula under the I.M. Pandey's textbook here. In page number 747 it is mentioned James Walter's model theory. It is mentioned here how to calculate the present market value of share. It is dividend plus R by K into EPS minus dividend, the whole divided by K. Okay, so let us take a situation of the problem. The problem, same problem in the I.M. Pandey I had done here. What are the things which are given in the problem? K is given, which is required for this formula. K is required for this formula. Overall cost of capital is 10. 0.1 means 10%. EPS is required for the formula. EPS is given rupees 10. That is earnings per share. It is 10. R is given. R under 3 situations it is given in the question. R with 1.15. R with 0.1. R with 0.08. See, this is the vital portion of the problem. R means what? R means firm's rate of return, which we have studied in the capital budgeting. Firm's rate of return. See, there will be 3 situations. That is growth firms. You could see this thing: growth firms, normal firms, and declining firms. What do you mean by growth firms? This we have studied in capital budgeting. If R is greater than K, such firms are known as growth firms. That is, return on capital is greater than cost of capital. The firm is running in profit, or the investments are viable. Such firms are growth firms. Where R is equal to K, that is normal firms. That is why it is given 0.1. You see, 0.1 is the K. So R is equal to K. R and K is 0.1. That is the normal firm. R is less than K. That is rate of return is less than the overall cost of capital. That is 0.08. Such firms are declining firms. So under these 3 situations, we have to find out what the present market value of shares. So with this all information, let us see how we are doing for the first situation. P is equal to, what is it? Dividend. Dividend for the company is given. They had asked in the question, find out the fluctuation that may happen in the market price of share under Walter's model if the payout ratio is 0, 40, 80 and 100%. See here, the EPS is 10. That means, the dividend for the company, if it is 0 means what? Payout ratio means 0 is what? 0 means 0 dividend. In all the cases, it will be 0 dividend. Payout ratio 40 means what? 10 into 40%. Dividend is 4. Payout ratio 80% means what? Payout ratio 80% means dividend is 10. 10 into 80%. Payout ratio 100% means what? Dividend is rupees 10. 100 into 10 into 100%. 10. So we substituting the equation. We have all the figures now. Dividend we know, R we know, K we know, EPS we know is 10. Dividend is given in the question. Based on the payout ratio, we found out the dividend, and the K is also known. These equations we substitute here, we will get various price of the shares under 3 different situations. 3 different situations. Present P is what? Present market value of shares. Present market value of shares we will get under the various situations. So under dividend payout ratio 0 for these 3 situations: growth firms, normal firms, declining firm. What is the present market value of shares we will get? under the payout ratio 40%, we will get the present market value of shares of three situation firms, growth firms, normal firms and declining firms. Like that we are doing for 80% payout ratio and 100% payout ratio. The ideal or the logic part behind this problem is that you look into these figures, that is the result, that is the present market value of shares of different situations. We could analyze that in case of growth firms, make it very clear, in case of growth firms where the return of capital is higher than the overall cost of capital, the present market value of share will be very high. Okay, and in case of declining firms, it will be the lowest. You could see that dividend present market value of share is very low in all the cases in case of declining firms. And in case of normal firms where R is equal to K, that is the rate of return is equal to K situation, the present market value of shares will be equal. There is no change. Everywhere we will get rupees 100. So according to the payout ratio and based on the relationship between return and cost of capital, dividend is now related and the value of the shares is related. This is the four needles. These are the four needles you could see in this diagram. So James Walter's theory explains that there is always a relationship between the return the rate of return, then cost of capital and dividend declaration or payout ratio, which may affect the value of the company or the present, which is relevant for the present market value of share. So this problem you could go through. If the explanation is not clear while going through the scanned pages of these two dividend calculation notes, lecture notes, and with this video you could easily find out what is the explanation I had given in this video. So that is what I told. The theory of relevance first model, Professor James C. Walter's model, specifies that based on the return, rate of return or the cost of capital, dividend payout ratio is determined by the company and it will definitely affect the present market value of shares. Means what? Dividend policy is relevant for determining the present market value of share, which we had found out using the equation dividend plus R by K into EPS minus dividend divided by K, and found out the effectiveness of the present market value of shares. So that's all about James C. Walter's model. Next video you could go through Gordon's model, which is also a part of theory of relevance. Thank you.